Hi folks. Today I'm going to be doing the small booktube tag. I was tagged by Robert at Barter Hordes, and this was originated by Die Kitty Reads. So I'm going to leave both of their channels linked in the description box below. This was originated in response to the new YouTube monetization rules that were introduced at the beginning of this year. And the idea was to expose some smaller booktubers so that they could reach those monetization criteria. And even though the anger and frustration around those rules has sort of died down a little bit, I think that this is still a very useful and valuable tag insofar as being able to introduce some smaller content creators to the larger booktube audience. So without further ado, we'll get into the tag. Number one is to introduce yourself. My name is Michelle. My channel is ChallengeThyShelf, and I am a stonewashed desert girl from the southwestern United States. Question number two is, how long have you been on Booktube? I uploaded my first video in December of 2017, but started to more consistently upload videos in January of 2018, so give or take 5 months. Question number three is, what types of videos do you make? And right now I sort of make the standard Booktube fare, so some wrap-ups. I don't do book hauls so much, but I like to just kind of introduce stuff and talk about stuff as I'm reading it. Eventually, I would like to start doing more book reviews. I have done some, but I would like that number to increase. I also would like to do some discussion videos. As I mentioned in a previous video, I'd like to start doing some vlogs, but do need to figure out a way to kind of put my own flavor and spin on it. I feel like the book world and the literary world is so large that there's so much room to be able to delve more deeply into content creation. So I would like to sort of start exploring some facets of the book world and the literary world that maybe don't get discussed as much on YouTube or on Booktube for that matter. So, you know, there's so much in the way of how books are made and what the life of that book is, and even how books die. So I think that there's some room to definitely make some different content. I just haven't quite figured out what that is yet, so I'll let you guys know as that develops. Question number four is, what do you love about Booktube? And the facet of Booktube that I love the most is being able to investigate different perspectives on a book. I love the fact that 100 people could read a book, the same book, and you could potentially come away with 100 different perspectives of that book based on people's histories, on their backgrounds, on what they ate for breakfast that day, or the lens through which they view the world. I think that that's a really fascinating thing, to be able to have a window into the type of person somebody is based on what they take away from a book. And though it doesn't always happen, sometimes 50 people read the same book and you get 50 of the exact same takeaways from that book, which is less exciting. But I think for people who tend to be a little bit more fearless about talking about their emotional investment or their psychological investment in a book, I think that that can be one of the best things about this community. So question number five is, what types of books do you read? And I'd like to believe I read all types of books. When I was first creating the channel, the idea, the mission statement, if you will, was that I wasn't going to close myself off to any genre or author. The idea of challenging thy shelf was for me to actively read against the things that I have traditionally gravitated to. And the idea was that I didn't want to miss anything. I didn't want to dismiss an author or a genre and risk losing out on something that I could potentially enjoy. My fella and I talked about it once with YA books, and the conclusion was the law of averages says that there has to be something that doesn't suck in YA, right? Like there has to be something that isn't garbage. And I do think that those books are out there, but I am never going to know if I don't take a chance on something. And taste is a funny thing, right? Like I talked about reading to your taste, and I do believe in that. I think that taste is sort of this amalgamation of all of the experience and things that you've been exposed to in your life, music, films, art, whatever it is. And while I do very much believe in reading to your taste, I don't believe in reading safely, and I don't want to be a safe reader. I don't want to just stick to the things that I know and I love at the risk of losing out on something that I could also potentially love. So that is my book reading philosophy in a nutshell. Question number 6 is, what's your favorite video that you've made? And for this, I'm gonna have to say the Future Classics book tag. And probably not for the reasons one's thinking. It was very well received, which I was grateful for. But the reason it's my favorite is because it was to date the hardest video that I did, the most difficult video that I made. From the time I was tagged in it to the time that I uploaded that video, it was just full of trepidation. I worried whether or not what I had to say was going to be valuable or useful. I was worried if I was going to be able to contribute anything else to the conversation. Even in the process of selecting the books, it was very tricky and a very time-consuming process to really think about books that would be appropriate to fit the challenge. And even during filming, I filmed 2 versions of it and scrapped them during editing because I wasn't happy with what I made. And so, I mean, uploading it, there were some technical issues that I ran into. And so it seemed like it was against me. It seemed like I should have given up on it, like scrapped it once the first 2 films and edits weren't working out so well. But I'm glad that I did it because it was very much a challenge for me in a lot of different ways. And it was something I was not entirely comfortable doing. And for that reason, it's been my favorite video that I've made. So, hey guys, I accidentally cut off the last part of this tag, but the last part was to tag 4 small channels or every small channel you could think of. And by this point, I think a lot of people have done it. So 2 people I know for sure who haven't are Candace at Beacon Hill Books and Alex at What Page Are You On? So if you guys feel so inclined, please do it. Also, if you're a small booktube channel who's watching this and you haven't been tagged, I tag you. Or if you are a channel who's just a little over 1,000 subscribers, please do it also. It'd be great to see some other content creators do this. But I think that's all I have for you guys today. Please like, subscribe, and do all the things, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.